Hi everyone, this is Lada from astrolada.com and I'm here to do your July 2018 horoscope together with Mila. Mila is 3 months. Say hi, Mila. She's been my source of strength because the July horoscopes 2018 and August, these are the two most extreme months of 2018. Guys, lives will be transformed, fates will take a new direction, changes on an epochal way because we have two huge eclipses happening, and we also are going to, hey Mila, and we have Mars retrograde and Mercury going retrograde. I would walk you through all of this. I just wanted you first to have some fun, see Mila, to start on a positive tone, and we will end also on a positive note, talking about Jupiter going direct and how you can benefit from that. But be prepared for one of the most intense, exciting months, possibly also the most difficult months, July and August together. I'm just gonna drop Mila to my mom. Hey, say bye, Mila. Bye. Wish everyone luck during the eclipses. Wish them luck to have the best results possible. There you go. Thank you. And why are these months, especially July and August, so crazy? Well, people who are yearning for a change, for a big change in their life, people that want to totally transform their thinking and certain areas of their lives, they might actually have a blast this month and consider it one of the most powerful and one of the most positive experiences of their life. But eclipses always bring some crisis of a sort. And eclipses, and I'm making the same intro for everyone, for all the 12 signs. I want you to listen to it because it gives us a lot of insights, and then I'll speak specifically how it affects each of the 12 signs. But before I start, I just wanted to tell you that on the 8th of July we have a webinar with Nicole Stojanovic on what in astrology gives the richest people. Nicole Stojanovic is a favorite of many of you, so I'm looking forward to have you on that webinar preceding the eclipses. And the first eclipse is a solar eclipse in July and the 11th, which is caused together by Rahu. Rahu is the north node of the sun. And eclipses are about karmic events, things that you have like a contract about even before you're born, the big events that happen in our life, the big transformations of consciousness, the big leaps to the next level. And sometimes, often it happens through crisis, because only big transformation comes through crisis. This is the nature of humans. Very few humans are inspired towards change because everything is okay and they're inspired to make it even better or to grow spiritually. The solar eclipse is weaker though. The solar eclipse is weaker than the lunar eclipse that follows. But the whole July, I'll be more careful about starting things like buying properties or signing contracts, or, because especially a few days before and after an eclipse, it's the light is hidden. The light of the sun or the moon are hidden, and it means that there's a lot of confusion. The eclipses act as portals for invisible forces to come and create chaos, and out of this chaos new beginnings and changes can build. But you don't want to make big decisions, especially when it comes to the second eclipse, the lunar eclipse, which is the strongest in 120 years eclipse, the most strong lunar eclipse in 120 years, that is closest to Earth, and it's gonna be seen in most of Africa, Europe, and in Asia as well. Extremely powerful eclipse. I would advise you a week before this eclipse and a week after the July 27th. And then there is another eclipse in August. This summer, there are 3 eclipses in a row, guys. Very karmic events are about to happen, and very fated events. I mean, things that happen on eclipses are people getting pregnant, birth of babies, things that, and usually within the month of the eclipse. You can feel it a month before, a month after, sometimes even 2 months after. But this is when our lives turn around, and some eclipses take from us because they want to teach us about detachment. That will be the lunar eclipse. It will be about losing things, letting go of things. And some eclipses give us things, so we can further incarnate, and so we can fulfill certain desires that we have, because the purpose of the eclipses are spiritual and soul evolution. And the evolution of the soul happens by, first, there are 2 ways that it happens: that our desires that we have are fulfilled, so we realize that we've been chasing an illusion. For example, you really want to be rich, or you really want to have that guy, or all you always wanted was to have a child, all you always wanted was to have this business. And Rahu eclipses, which is the first one, the solar eclipse, gives us those things. And once we have them, we realize that it's an illusion, that it does not is that not fully create what happiness is for us. So we're still searching inside. But Rahu gives. So in Western astrology, we tend to like Rahu because it's an eclipse. When Rahu is involved in an eclipse, we receive things, we get things, and usually, again, though, they're preceded by some crisis, because a big change and big transformation always involves some kind of crisis. And sudden, it's usually very surprising when eclipses come, but usually it's something that you've had to do for a long time, but you've been postponing, or you didn't have the willpower, and now other sources, other powers take over and start acting through you. And, like eclipses bring things to culmination, so to speak. And maybe you've wanted something for a long time, and this Rahu eclipse now can give it to you, but it might be again preceded by some kind of crisis, but it will be some kind of new beginnings, because solar eclipse is when the sun and the moon are together, creation of something new, female and male polarities are joining together to create new life. But because of Rahu, which is considered a demonic influence, it happens through some kind of shake-up in our life. But this is when it's contracted. It's what's had to happen. There were 2 eclipses on my moon in the last year and a half, and the moon is motherhood, and I got pregnant both times, maybe a month before, a month after. But usually the eclipses, it doesn't mean it will happen on the 11th of July. It means that if something new comes into your life, it might come a month before or a couple of months after. But the eclipses are like those beacons that say that something fated is going to happen in your life. And as I said, the Rahu eclipse, the first one, brings something through crisis, sudden new beginnings, transformations, because Rahu and Ketu, that cause the eclipses, the north and south lunar nodes of the moon, the mythology about them is that they were nagas, which is snakes, dragon. They were a dragon that was cut in two, and the symbology of dragons is that they shed their skin, and snakes as well, for transformation. So the big thing to remember about eclipses is big transformations, and they're never easy. It means about the light is hidden for a little bit, so it's almost like you might feel like something like a metaphorical death of some sort, a death of a part of your life, a death of an old part of you, but so that again the sun or the moon can be reborn when the darkness of the eclipse is removed from them, and because chaos ensues first of some sort, before again the king and the queen, the sun and the moon, can take reign over your life and make it run according to kind of more predictable and normal patterns. But while around the eclipse, a couple of months around, I would say some of you would feel it already from June, some would feel it into August as well, but July is the most intense. There is this darkening. People start to get confused or to change direction in their life. They get sudden changes and transformations are starting to happen. And while it's dark, there are a lot of fears. And we're like, what does the future hold? Rahu eclipses prepare us for the future. They bring new karma. And again, it can bring a lot of fears. When I got pregnant both times, I was full of fears, It's a crisis on the mentality. Even if it gives you something, it's a crisis on your whole lifestyle, on your whole expectation for whatever you wanted for yourself. And then there's something new that comes that is fated, that's totally going to change your life. So this Rahu eclipse on the July the 11th will bring something like that. It gives things, it gives transformations, but through some kind of sudden crisis. New karma is created, then strong passions. Rahu is the mouth of the dragon. The dragon has 2 parts, Rahu and Ketu. The mouth of the dragon is Rahu. It's insatiable. It's something that we want to grab from life more and more. So often, sometimes people can even fall in love around eclipses, and especially Rahu eclipses, in a crazy way that they lose their mind. And because of that, their whole life transforms, and they can do something passionate and intense. That's almost like eclipse of the mind. The sun is our conscious ability to make conscious choices. And Rahu darkens that. The eclipse happens on the sun, so you kind of lose your mind over someone with strong passions and stuff like that. While the next eclipse, July 27th lunar eclipse, is, as I said, the strongest eclipse is going to be seen, especially if you're in the path of the eclipse. If you are able to see that eclipse, your life will definitely be so strongly impacted. But for the whole of the world, I warn you, quite an intense eclipse. It's conjunct Mars, and Mars is retrograde. Mars is a very violent star when it's retrograde. It's much closer to Earth. So, and Ketu means past life. When an eclipse involves Ketu, it's about past lifetimes or past karma, something from the past, and especially that creates a lot of frustration or angry reaction on us. So kind of a old slumbering karma of anger can come to the surface during that time, a week before or a whole month after that. I would say the whole month, this is active, and you can feel like strong, intense emotions. And also it has a square to Uranus, the eclipse, by the way. And Uranus and Mars ultimately want to give freedom and liberation to a person from something. They make you so angry about something. Mars, especially retrograde, you're like, I can no longer tolerate that. There's so much like pent up fire that is starting like volcano to erupt. Be careful not to erupt and lose your minds again, lose your heads when the moon is eclipsed. The weeks before and after, we can do crazy stuff that we regret. I mean, the last time the moon was, Mars was with Ketu, there were quite some famous suicides of Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade on the exact day. So people can lose their mind, and this time is much more powerful because Mars is retrograde, so much closer to Earth, much more intense. The influences are way more karmic. It's bringing anger, pain. Mars is all those things from the very bottom of your soul, from past lifetimes, from earlier periods in your life, something from the past. Ketu rules the past. This kind of anger and this pain is going to erupt now on the surface, but the ultimate goal of Ketu eclipses is to release it, to release that anger, or to use that anger to detach yourself from something from the past that is no longer necessary in your life. So there will be powerful endings. Losing something. Ketu is about letting go of something. I don't know if you see it well here, but letting go of something. Ketu is the tail of the dragon. Well, Rahu takes something. That's why we usually get something in life during Rahu eclipses or around the months around it. In Ketu eclipses, we let go of something. It's the tail where you excrete. So where old karma, the baggage we all carry a lot of baggage with us, and that's Ketu, the karma. And we need to travel lightly on our path. And when the baggage becomes too much, it's like we can't move forward. But we're so afraid to lose something. We're so afraid to lose a relationship. We're so afraid to lose a safety of some sort. We're so afraid to lose a job or whatever. And Ketu comes, and there is a Ketu eclipse, and says enough. Yes, you've been thinking about that, but you haven't had the strength to do it. Now you're letting it go, and there is no choice. Power stronger than you take over, karmic powers, and you have to drop that baggage that you've been carrying with you from past lifetimes or from past experiences, or something that is no longer necessary in your life. It can almost be severed, just like Ketu and Rahu, the head of the dragon and the tail, was severed by the gods because they tried to be immortal. The same way something can sometimes, even literally, when there is an eclipse of Ketu on someone's ascendant or something of the body, there might be a part of the body that gets severed. That's very extreme cases, hopefully not for you. It's happening on my ascendant. I hope I don't come with one leg less or something by the end of that. But it's about letting go of certain chapter of your life, and it's going to happen in a violent way, or it's going to happen because Mars is our willpower, and it's going to happen because we get angry, or because we're like, okay, now I have much more stronger willpower to do that. And Uranus is also about cutting connections and about changing something in a powerful way, in a sudden way. So this eclipse is really what I'm gonna focus on a lot in those predictions, but ending about karma. So the positive thing of it is, yes, we can lose something. We have to change totally the direction of something, let go of something. But we can also release old karma, that is heavy baggage. We can also release, complete something. We can, if we've been burdened with a karmic disease or with a karmic unhealthy obsession or something, we might finally be able to detach from it in some way. It's a big karmic conclusion, and for every person it's in a different area of their life. Just be careful for very extreme emotional reactions, because the moon is our feelings. It's being eclipsed. It feels as if some people might become hysterical, panicky around that time. But remember, this is a period of big alchemical transmutation that's happening in your subconscious. The layers of your karma are being rearranged, are being cleansed, are being, kind of like gods and powers above us rearranging those things for us. And it's fearful, it's scary, it can feel confusing, it can feel exhilarating for some people. It is rare, but for some people they can. And after that, I guess even in August it continues, but we'll speak about that in the August videos. And so, yes, I just want you to remember, yes, it will be an intense month for every person. These things can be happening, those big transformations that the snakes, Rahu and Ketu, the eclipses want to create in our life, the hiding of the light from us, basically the sun and the moon are our consciousness, our feelings and our consciousness. When those two are blocked and hidden by the eclipses, which is what Rahu and Ketu, these are the dragons that swallow the sun or the moon according to mythology, we lose. Darkness happens, it's like a metaphorical death, and the new rebirth of light comes again, the light of the sun or the moon. So our life comes up out of the darkness, emerges after the eclipses on a new level, on a new direction. So big transformations, guys. Ultimately, it can be used for good people that have been craving for transformations for a long time. It might be now for them. And of course, it's very hard to predict how exactly eclipse will affect a person. Even if I have your chart specifically, I can say more who exactly will feel it the most. If you have a planet exactly on those degrees, this one is at 4 degrees Aquarius, so anything, and this one is at 20 degrees Cancer. But again, everyone will be affected somehow. They have those degrees somewhere in their horoscope, certain area of their life. And I would like you to check your ascendant sign for this prediction, and of course your sun sign, but always the ascendant sign is more important. And of course, not everyone will have those big transformations. The eclipse is twice a year, every year, but still let's see where you can go through big changes, big transformations. Okay, let's see where Aries, the first eclipse, Aries falls in your 4th house. Remember, the first eclipse can give you something. It will make it, but through some kind of crisis again. And let me just move it a little bit here so you can see the red one is the first eclipse, is the solar eclipse. It falls in the 4th house for Aries, where Cancer is. And that's family, some big sudden transformations in your family. Some of you might, for example, decide that in this period, but I'll tell you again, if you're buying new property, because this eclipse can bring something new to you. It's a Rahu eclipse, remember? So something material and physical it can bring it. So you can even indicate new property or place of living or a new member of the family or something like that. But I advise you, if it's going to be something that you're signing a contract or something to relocating, don't do it 2-3 days before the eclipse, the 11th, and 2-3 days after, because there's too much confusion there. Otherwise, if some big surprise comes, it comes. You have to rearrange your life after it. So new beginnings. Sudden crisis, though, can also happen in regards to members of your family. Mother in particular is the 4th house, so the family that you have as well. Sudden crisis and transformations and changes and strong passions that can come between members of family. Something can escalate that you have to work on, that you have to put more consciousness into, that you might have a bit too extreme reaction to. But the final goal of this eclipse is to create new karma, basically to bring something new, to shift the layers in your family life, personal life, place of living, property. So after that you can almost start like a new direction in regards to your personal life forward. But of course, the 4th house is our feelings. You can feel quite intense, passionate feelings. You can almost, because of this eclipse in the 4th house, you might feel like your feelings are a bit eclipsed, or you're losing a little bit your composure, and that you get overly excited about something. And again, around the time of the eclipse, take it a bit easier. And whatever new has to be born out of this chaotic time, it will be born, and you'll incorporate it into your life, and hopefully for best. Wow, the second eclipse around the July 27th, which is the most intense and powerful one, happens for you guys. It's basically July 27th. It happens at 4 degrees Aquarius, the lunar eclipse, which is your 11th house, but it's eclipse about letting go of something. So some of you Aries rising or sun people might have to let go of certain friendships. Some of you, some friendships from the past, karmic, can revisit, can come back to the surface, so they can be, so attachments or any pain from those can be released as well. You might just have to cut certain people from your life as well in your social environment. And maybe there might be arguments and stresses in your social environment if you're a member of clubs, of organizations, online forums, everywhere where people come on the marketplace to exchange ideas, to exchange goods, to exchange good times together. So that's why it's friends, but it's any kind of groups as well. Of you can be in part of a forum or the Astrolada family, people that are connected by mutual idea of some sort or interest. So they can be and I'm an Aries. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about me here. So if you see me going crazy, losing my shit on forums or groups around the eclipse, maybe it's the eclipse. Forgive me. My mind's been eclipsed, but letting go of something. You're releasing something, releasing some attachment as well to people. And the 11th house is also goals. You might have a change of feelings towards friends or groups and stuff, or part of society that you're a part of, or you might also lose some friends, letting go. But the 11th house is goals. Once, especially kind of more material goals that we have. Goals that will fulfill our desire and ambitions. Goals that are, I want to be recognized as this, or I want to have this title, or I want to achieve this social economic goal, or I want applause from here, or I want to be a member of this, or I want to be, very rich. Whatever goals we have that are basically kind of goals that are social economic, that is the 11th house. You might realize that one of them is just an illusion and let go of them. Might let go of certain something that you've been working in direction to, or you might, on a positive note, complete some socioeconomic goal that you've been working for a long time, and then release it. It doesn't mean you lose it. Not necessarily always is to lose something. To complete something, Ketu is to complete, to end. Something comes to completion, gets wrapped up. It doesn't mean it's a failure, but it gets wrapped and you can move on. You don't have to think about that anymore. Socioeconomic goal, or friendship, or something like that. And again, crisis and transformation can happen to you in regards to groups and people that you're involved with, in regards to some goals of yours, dreams and wishes, and gains. These are financial gains. Maybe you might have to be to release some kind of financial gain or bonus or something that you've been hoping for, or maybe you have to, or some kind of a source of income. It might have to be released. The 11th house is connected to such material things. And it might happen again through some anger and sudden change, or you might have to release or complete just some kind of a gainful, let's say, and see the completion. It's a full moon though. You can also see results, but after that it ends, and see the results of some socioeconomic goal that you've been working on. Okay, and then we also have Mercury going retrograde, Aries, in our 5th house. This is towards the end of the month, the 24th of July. You'll feel it mostly in August, but let's say a week before it going retrograde, people start already feeling the changes. And retrogradation is about changing direction, things becoming more complicated, having to put more efforts in something, having to work harder at something, and it's in your 5th house. Maybe past loves and something from the past coming back. The 5th house is about past romantic relationships that can come back, that you can maybe not to be resumed, but maybe you haven't met someone you've dated years ago and you meet them and you chat with them. This is how Mercury retrograde in the 5th house can play for some of you. Some of you might have to put and if they have children, the 5th house is children, like something from the past connected to children can come back to be worked on, to be put, some important communication or conversations in regards to children can be happening. Or if you're working on some creative project, something that you consider a baby of yours that you've created from scratch, it might be edited during that time. You might be putting some final touches and checking for kinks, and some problems can come to the surface that you have to remove or repair in regards to that creative project. And also, if you're in a romantic relationship, there can be deep, important conversations, because Mercury is about communicating about something that you might be dissatisfied with in regards to how the romantic side of the relationship is going, and some kind of reassessment of giving and receiving love. But usually in regards to creative project, you might be dissatisfied with something in a creative project and want to change something there. And the Mercury retrograde from the end of the month will be what you're doing, or maybe you need to deepen some kind of creative talent, and Mercury retrograde will kind of help for that. But of course, be careful again, because it can create certain mistakes, Mercury retrograde and all those things. And then let's end on a positive note. Jupiter is turning direct Aries in your 8th house. Which means that if there was some complications or delays, or some kind of blockages or more difficulties in regards to, and Jupiter is turning direct on the 10th of July, but the whole month is on the same degree. It's almost like it's stationary. From the 10th of July onwards, gradually, slowly, there'll start to become some positive resolution of some financial matter things. If there were some blockages or delays in regards to taxes, insurances, mutual resources and finances with a partner, something that is income from business that is connected to clients or other people's money, something connected to arrangement of inheritances, insurances, and something connected as well to other people's resources and money can start becoming, when Jupiter starts moving direct, it means that again things start becoming easy there. Things can start move forward and progressing, or maybe some money that you've been expecting to come to you from someone and they've been blocked, or something, they can start coming back to you, or maybe some financial agreement that you can have with another person can basically give good results after the middle of July onwards. Gradually can start improving, or maybe if your partner had some financial problems, their financial situation, because it's other people's resources, their financial situation can start improving. Or for example, if you've been expecting some resources for your business that were coming to you from another place or whatever, and maybe they were out of that for some time, and they said that we can't provide you this material, and now Jupiter starts turning direct, and they're like, okay, we're sending the assets or whatever, we're sending those resources over now. So this is how it can play out. What an intense month. So many things happening. Enjoy it, Aries. We're daredevils. We this such kind of things actually, yes, it can drive us crazy, all the changes that are happening in the intense energies, but Aries thrives on drama, let's say. So thank you so much, and I will see you next month. And don't forget our webinar with Nicola.